Hi and good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, or wherever you are in the world watching this Cockerel Clock podcast with myself, Dermatron, aka Dermot, and then also Philip, aka the Godfather, and Mia, aka the Little Devil. Um, or Cheeky Devil, I should call her.
I get called all sorts. I get called Scrappy Doo. I get called the Cheeky Devil. I get called Pocket Rocket. I've got many nicknames, you know.
I quite like Scrappy Doo, actually. You do look a little bit like Scrappy Doo.
You try and sound like a dog.
No, I'm not saying you look like a dog, but you act like Scrappy. I'm going
You're,
to shut up now. I'm going to quit
yeah,
for a
I
moment.
think you might want to.
No,
Yeah, no,
what I
it
meant
is.
was, Mia, right? I'm going to get this out. You have the spirit of Scrappy Doo. You have his fight. There you go.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, shut up, Dermot. All right.
Right there.
Good evening, anyway, and welcome to the latest podcast, of course, with myself, Philip and Mia. Tonight, we're going to go a bit around the houses, talk a bit about Spurs' best starts in 60-61. Can Philip remember what it was like back then, and just tell me and Mia what it was like
I
back in them
can.
early, back in them days of the 60s? He's going to kill me one
You're
day.
on a very thin ice at the minute, mister, so just be careful.
Um, we're going to talk about our Spurs in the Champions League race or title race. Is Mia going to call me deluded? Of course, I probably am. With Ireland and the UK getting Euro 2028, what does this mean for the home nations? Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, Ireland. Okay, England are not going to get much out of it, but what about the rest of the home nations and Ireland, who are not part of the home nations? Just to let you know, we're our own country. We're independent. Thank you very much. And and then the Glazers are the
That's all right.
yeah. I'm just letting everyone know we're not part of the UK. We are an independent country. We'd just like to know. Took us 700 years to get rid of you, but mind you, we're quite happy being independent. It's like living next door to your ex-wife. You'd like to see her once in a while, but you can't stand living with her. And are the Glazers the type of owners every club should avoid? Bit like Philip going into his bank, speaking to his bank manager probably once a month. He probably wants to avoid him as well. But anyway, let's start with Philip. How are we this evening, sir? You look
Um,
happy and cheerful.
oh yeah, sure. Why not? Why not? I just hate these international breaks, though. That's the only thing,
Yeah,
They're coming
I
too
know.
quick, and there's another one next month as well. That's the biggest thing. Another one in November. So yeah, well, apart from that, I'm fine. I'm just laughing at Arsenal claiming that they're joint top of the league. I mean, get real, lads. You're not. You're second. We're top.
Yeah. And of course, we've got the great Mia, lovely Mia, absolute jewel in the crown of all Spurs communities. She very kindly came on here after me asking, and she said, "No, I'm not coming on." And then she went, "All right, might as well come on for the laugh." It's Mia. How are you, Mia, for Spurs between the lines?
Yeah, I'm good. I only come to laugh at you, just saying. And
I
because
know,
and Philip's wonderful company, of course.
I know.
Thank you, Mia. Thank you, Mia.
Yeah,
Who's
yeah.
that fellow up the top left anyway?
I
I
don't
think
know
I've
who
seen
that
him
is.
before. Yeah.
I
We
don't
need to
know.
chuck him out, really. I heard he's a
Yeah.
bit of a criminal, to be honest.
I am,
Mm.
yeah. I'm not. Well, I'm not the one that dishes out horses' heads and runs around with big boats and harbours. But there you go. You're not called the Godfather for no reason, are you, Philip?
No, the Codfather. Yeah, I catch fish. I'm called the Codfather. Yeah.
Yeah. You're the god in the never one. Anyway,
Yeah.
Philip, we have the latest on our little competition, don't we, for the
Hmm.
members? And
Yeah.
if you are a member, this is where I don't know where have you put it. Oh yeah, the polls
Uh,
update. So this is going across the bottom. Do you want to tell people who's winning and where, Philip?
yeah, Chris is winning by 272. All Ace 266. Joe 266. JS 2. You can see them there. This is after 8 weeks. So this is the score. So your average score is about 25 to 30 every game, So
Mm,
Nathan is bottom at 219. KPV 235. Actually, I missed out a score there. It's 221. But yeah, I'll be updating that once a month from now on because there's a fair bit of work involved in doing it every week. So that's the way it is. They'll carry on to the end of the season with 50 matches, and that's match number 8's gone through there now. So
Well, don't worry, Nathan. You can come back. Wayne Bonner was well ahead. Now look at him.
Aisha Collin was second at one stage. Now he's down at
Yeah,
number 12 or 13.
yeah,
So just
yeah.
yeah,
Don't worry,
it's moved
Colum. I'll
on.
I'll make sure you win. Don't worry. If Mia was involved, there'd be a bit of rigging going on. She'd have stuck somebody in the dungeon by now. But yeah, that is there. We will give you an update when back on Wednesday with Newsbeat. So we will be back on and we will give you an update then. Right, let's get crack on with it, shall we? Right, Mia. I'm going to start with you first. This is with Spurs' best start since 1960-61. We all know what happened at the end of that year. Could we be seeing the start of a new era at Spurs? You're on mute, Mia.
Not very professional, mine. Yeah, I think it's a new era. I think that we've seen so much change at Tottenham already. I think just the general attitude of everyone in the club has just changed. It's just like it's just definitely something fresh, something new. And I'm going to be honest, even when Poch came in, I didn't feel this way. So I'm really excited because a lot of people are comparing it to Poch, but I don't know, it feels different. It feels different to Poch. So I think it is definitely a start of a new era.
I agree with you, Mary. I said that to Philip the other day. It does sound like it feels different than Poch. It is different from Poch. With Poch, it took him a while to get going. With this team, it's just they've clicked. And Philip, why has it just clicked? Why has it? What's Ange done? What Conte and Jose couldn't do?
Ange, my opinion of Jose and Conte, while I was delighted when they came, in hindsight, which is very easy to say, it looks to me as if both those boys thought they were doing Spurs a favour by coming to us, right? And they never really bought into the project. Ange has come down, having done a similar job at Celtic. When he took over Celtic, they were arguably in as big a shit state as Tottenham were. Okay, it took him a bit longer to get them up the road, but he won every trophy in 2 seasons up there in Scotland. So what he's done, he's come in, he talks the players' language. He plays the type of football the players want to play because, let's face it, none of the team wanted to play the Conte way. And it was killing them. And there was trouble in the dressing room. He was picking on players. Ange just come in now, put his arm around everybody. He's everybody's best mate. And you see that from the reaction at the end of games and the last few games, the team spirit there is probably the best it's ever been at Tottenham in my lifetime. And I'm going back a bit. Like, I don't know about the double team. I wasn't around them, but it seems to me that he's developed in 2 months, 3 months, an unbreakable team spirit, and that's huge. And that's what's going to keep us going for the rest of the season.
Before I come back to you, Mia, look, Philip, you've seen a lot of Spurs 70s, 80s, 90s, right? Back probably to the late 60s. You were, don't please take this wrong, but you were a fan when the great Bill Nick was manager.
Yeah.
What's so? I mean, I keep comparing this to the 1980s under Keith Birkinshaw.
Yeah.
Do you know, is there a twinge of Bill Nick about him as well?
Ange is more Keith Birkinshaw than Bill Nick, because Bill Nick was a disciplinarian. Like, some of the lads they'd be working up the courage for a week to go and ask Bill Nick for a pay rise, you know. Whereas Birkinshaw was more one of the lads, and Ange has carried that on. I think Poch was one of the lads as well up to a point, but Conte and Mourinho certainly weren't.
No,
and this is what I think the team have missed. Someone who talks their language, is on the same wavelength as them, and I mean, let's face it, anywhere he's gone, he's done this. We shouldn't really be that surprised.
No,
he did it in Japan, he did it in Australia, he did it in Scotland. Now he's doing it in probably the toughest league in the world, and long may it continue.
Yeah. Mia, what's impressed you about Ange the most since he's took over?
He's straight talking. I love the way he is in press conferences. He doesn't mince his words. He doesn't try and do mad riddles that we can't understand. He also doesn't blame players. He always takes responsibility. Even with the Basuma thing, whether we won that game or not, he would have come out and said the same thing. And I think that's something that you've got to respect a lot, because he takes that upon himself and says, no, anything that happens is it's down to me, you know. And I love that. And I don't think we've had that before, because even Poch, he was a bit shady sometimes with what he said. So I think the fact that he's just so straight down the line, absolutely love that.
Look, I get where Philip's coming from with Keith Birkinshaw. I think Keith and Ange had the same sort of route in the football. Not really well-known managers. Well, Keith Birkinshaw was, and he was a trainer at Newcastle, and then he came down to Spurs under Terry Neal. A bit like Arsene Wenger, Postecoglou came from Japan, Australia, not alone about him. And look what Arsene Wenger done at Arsenal. So why can't Ange do the same for us at Tottenham? Look, there's something special brewing, guys, at Tottenham. Foundations are being led. Very quickly on this part of the subject, start with you, me, and then I go to finish off with you, Philip, on this. Has Ange taken into Spurs' history? Has he looked at it and said, right, this is what the history is. This is what I'm going to put in within my management skill set, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't think he does. I don't think he did. I think this is just the way he is purely because this is how he is. I think he knows the history of Tottenham because he obviously followed teams when he was young, although he did follow Liverpool, because they were shown more, because obviously there was a bigger team, they were a big team, and obviously the bigger team got shown more. But yeah, I don't think so. I don't think he did that. I think that he's following his way and he's not looking back, he's looking forward. I think he kind of says that because even with the whole thing called Spursy tag, you know, he says that's something that it's something to do with the other fans, and he doesn't bother with himself with this historic stuff. So when we've got like some sort of like, oh, we might lose this game, I don't think he thinks like that. He doesn't think, oh, historically we lost this game. Even with Arsenal, he didn't put big onuses on the past. So I don't think so. I think he just looks forward personally.
Yeah. Philip, look, does it, can you take what we did in the past and use it now? Can you use it as a sort of motivation to think, do you know what? If he can do that, so can I. And if he says to the players that them players done this, I want you to match what they've done. That can he use, say, the double winning side as a motivational thing to say, look, this is how far we can go. Look at what they did. I know different era, different type of football, but can you use it as a motivational thing for the players?
You could, whether he does or not. I doubt whether he does, to be honest. Because if you look at this season alone, right, we hadn't beaten Manchester United at our stadium since it opened. We beat them. We hadn't beaten Liverpool. We beat them. We go to Arsenal and get hammered nearly every time. We didn't get hammered this time. I think what he's doing is I think there's a psychological barrier with the players playing those certain teams. And what he's done is he's got rid of that. However he's done it, whether it's comparing the teams of the past or whatever, I think what he's done is he said, listen, lads, you might go into a game against Arsenal thinking they're better than us. They're not. We're better than them. He's sending the teams out prepared not to be scared of anybody. I mean, even if you look at Saturday, right? How many games last season, or how many times, if Spurs had a player sent off, would we have won the game? Very few. We would have lost that match last season, no problem, because we wouldn't have been able to cope. But the mental toughness he's put into that team, I mean, that I know it wasn't that pretty to watch, but that second half was technically a brilliant 45 minutes from Tottenham because we played the way a team should be, down to 10 men.
Yeah.
And let's face it, Luton never got two shots on goal in the whole game.
So if you could, right, just one question this, then we'll move on. I want you to pick one player from the 60s, 70s, 80s and put it into this team today. Who would you pick? I'll start with you, Philip.
I think from the chance to be missed on Saturday, it's got to be Jimmy Greaves.
Yeah. And Mia, if you could pick one player from any decade and you think he would fit perfectly in an Ange system, who would you pick?
Oh, I'd probably pick Gaza.
That's not a bad shout, actually.
Good shouts, yeah.
I'd love to see Gaza in an Ange team. Imagine
Look,
that.
I'm a massive Glenn Hoddle fan, but I'd love to see Tony Galvin running down that wing for Ange.
Would you?
With the socks down by his ankles. You know, absolutely. I love Tony Galvin. Great player for Ireland as well.
And my next choice would have to be Ozzy Ardiles if I had a second one.
I do you know what, Mia? I think I think so. I mean, Ozzy was a great manager for us, really. He really was spot on.
Was he?
He was.
Well,
you're even serious there.
No. Well, he was better than Christian Gross, to be fair.
Listen, my pet dog has been dead for 10 years. He's better manager than Christian Gross.
Listen, do you know what? Ozzy was his managing style wasn't great, but he was a good footballer. So
Yeah,
as
he
far
was.
as him as a footballer in an Ange system, again, he just loved to play ball, man, and you could just see playing in an Ange system, that would be brilliant.
I always called it like, is this the updated version of push and run, Philip? And I think it is the way Ange plays, isn't it? It is.
Maximum 2-touch football, if you look at it. You know, this is. And people, and then anyone that passes the ball under Conte, they pass the ball and stand still. Under Ange, pass the ball and move.
Yeah. Somebody said to Arthur Rowe back in the day, right, what is push and run? And he explained it as simple as anything. He says, what we do, he says, we get the lads into the car park, we give them a ball, we tell them to hit the ball against the wall and then run.
Yeah.
He said, that is push and run. That's the basics of push and run.
Yeah.
And Tottenham have always played that sort of football, haven't they?
And I'll give you the greatest example of that recently was the winning goal against Sheffield United. If you look at that, from Odoji getting the ball back, there was 4 passes. Pass, move, ball to Kula, back of the net. I don't think that goal gets half the credit it deserves. It's one of the best team goals this season.
I mean, really, then we'll go on to the second bit now. Are Spurs in a Champions League race, or are they going to be as deluded as me? A title race?
Champions League race, absolutely. I predicted 6th, 7th. My stance hasn't really changed yet because I want us to get through our December games to see where we lie after January, because if we get any reinforcements. So I'm going to stick with 6th, 7th for now. But yeah, we could well be, if we manage to not get injuries over December and get into January, get some reinforcements, I think we could well get 5th, as long as I think it's to do with what team is in the Champions League with the coefficiency point or something like that. Anyway, the coefficiency points. But yeah, I think that is feasible. Not 4th, I would say, but 5th definitely. Title race, absolutely not.
No. There's a funny. Are you getting interference? No. Is anybody hearing interference?
Yeah, no. It's like a dog. It's like
something rattling, knocking on a door. Anyway, it's gone now.
Look, yeah. Anyway, look. I get what Mia's saying. Mia, look, I get what you're saying. You are right in what you're saying. We are in a title race. We are in the Champions League race for sure, for definite. But Philip, can we dare to believe we're in a title race? I think we are. We're top of the league, 2 points clear of Man City. We've got Fulham then next after the international break. Why can't we not be still top of the league after Saturday, after we play the Monday evening?
I'm not saying we will. I'm not saying we won't be, but as for being in a title race, as being title contenders at the end of the season, I think that's a bridge too far. I do think we very possibly get Champions League. Now, I've upped my opinion. I thought it was going to be 6th or 7th at the start of the season. I think we will get Champions League. I think title race, we're too dependent on not getting injuries. The squad isn't thick enough or deep enough to cater for the likes. So say now, this next 2 weeks is going to worry the hell out of me. We've 10 out of the 11 starters on Saturday away on international duty. What's the odds at least one of them is going to get injured? It's quite high. So we come back, we say Romero gets injured, say Van de Ven gets injured, say Udoji gets injured. How are we going to replace them? We don't really have replacements for them. You know, and that's the worry, that the squad is too thin. If we can avoid injuries and keep playing the way we're doing, anything can happen. But I just get the feeling, being Tottenham, something's going to go wrong between now and Christmas. It's going to bring us back down the league a little bit, but we will finish in the top 4.
Look, I said at the start of the season we'd finish top 3, and you two laughed at me. You two literally laughed at me, right? Fair enough. You had every right to laugh at me because you probably were right to laugh at me then. Ange hadn't had his first game. Tottenham were unproven. I'm probably being deluded by saying we're in the title race. I'll admit that. Okay, I'm probably eating too many cherries or too many strawberries or eat too many sugar plums. Who knows? But look, I think we are. I think while we're up there, I always go back. You look at Leicester. Leicester gave nobody a chance. Leicester, no, they're not going to win the league. And they won the league. So if Leicester can do it, why can't we?
We won't get the help.
Words.
The other clubs that Leicester gave.
Leicester got a lot of help. City. That is right. Why not.
Now, Mia, I knew you were going to say that, and I'm going to come back with you with something now. I'm actually quite proud of myself for this. Right, City have lost the last 2 games the first time in 5 years. They didn't look brilliant against Arsenal yesterday. Mind you, that was a ball fest, that game yesterday.
Yeah.
I think City have got a hangover from winning the treble last year. And I'll tell you why. They haven't got an Alex Ferguson type manager to keep them players from getting ahead of themselves. When United did the treble,
No,
No, what they've got is injuries. They've got
Guardiola.
injuries. They've got Rodri, who's a big player for them, injured. They've got Kevin De Bruyne, a big player that's injured for them. Are you mad? Like they've got
so
some really.
they've got Haaland up front, this man that can score goals every 10 games.
But I've just told you, Rodri is a very important player for them. If like that, he is someone who runs the games, and he was a massive miss. And they normally actually start off very slow, Man City. If you look in their results, they in general start off slow and get better towards the end of the season. It just so happens that they've started better than what they normally do, and now they're having a tiny bit of a blip. So
yeah, I get what you're saying, but why can't we not believe we can do it? Why do we have to be inferior to a Man City? Yeah, they've got the wealth of a nation behind them. They can buy who they want when they want. Yeah, okay.
Because they're treble winners and we've not won anything.
Yeah, but
their
look,
squad is so much stronger than ours. Their squad is way stronger than ours.
Why are we as fans, look, we're not going to win the league probably. You're right. Okay. We're going to finish Champions League. Okay. But why can't we not dream and believe and be a little bit deluded? We spent the last 4 or 5 years playing defensive, boring, horrible football. Me and Philip went to the AC Milan game. We nearly fell asleep halfway through the match. I thought Philip was going to do a pitch invasion and chase Conte around the pitch at one point. You know, why can't us as Spurs fans be a little bit ahead of ourselves? We're probably not going to win the league. Man City are probably going to run away with it. Yeah. Who knows?
Right, because right, I mean, you can if you want to, if you would like to, then you can do that, right? Nobody's telling you you're not allowed to, but let's live in the real world, right? We know that we're not going to win it. Why? It's like me thinking I'm going to marry Chris Hemsworth. I'm not going to marry the guy just because I've got delusions of thinking I'm gonna. I'm just going to get disappointed when I don't. Yeah. If you keep your feet on the ground, and if anything happens that's unexpected, then you're more like, oh, okay, I did expect that. So if you keep yourself grounded, it's better. But I think that's the way. I think we're getting way too ahead of ourselves. This is Angie's first season, and there will be bumps. We haven't got the strongest of squads. So, yeah, don't get ahead of yourselves and dream. I mean, you can if you'd like, but personally, me, I like to keep my feet grounded and to keep level-headed about things.
Look, Philip, we are in the Champions League race, and I think we will get Champions League football this year. I agree with you too on that. That's a given. I think we're in. Look, we are going to have bumps in the road. Of course we are. Every team goes through them. Man City goes through them. Man United are going through them. Arsenal will go through them. Chelsea will. Whatever. So, look, I get what Mia's saying. I understand what Mia's saying. She's probably right in what she's saying, Philip. But can we dare to dream after what we've been through, whether under Conte, Jose, Nuno?
There's no problem in dreaming, right? But the problem with dreaming is when you wake up and find it is only a dream. It's the reality that hits you. That's the hard part. So you're better off not getting too carried away. Thinking, oh, we're going to win this, we're going to win that. Then have the crushing disappointment of not doing it. I would rather say, right, we finished 7th or 8th last year, whatever it was. Right, we're going to improve that by 4 places or 5 places this season. That's the ambition. And when that comes through, hallelujah, great stuff, we've done it. There's no disappointment. Whereas if you think we're going to come first and only come 4th, that's what disappointment sets in.
Look, I think we're going to finish top 3. I've always said that from the start of the season. I think we will finish top 3. I don't think we're going to finish anything lower than that. I know. Look, I think Liverpool haven't been playing well. They're beatable. I think Man United. Their defense is very poor. Look, Man City for me, I just feel there's something not right there with City. Okay, they are missing key players. I grant you. But when they missed key players last season, they were still bowling teams over left, right, and centre. They've lost 2.
They're having a blip. They're having a blip. which they haven't
And
had for a
they've-
long time.
and
And
don't
everybody's, oh, City are finished.
So-
City will win the league in a canter this season.
And
Yeah,
Sorry.
also, don't forget, they've sold some of their more experienced players.
Yeah,
so this
that's
is like
true.
a new crop of players coming through
Yeah.
as well.
Look,
That they've
Rico
obviously
Lewis,
got.
that Nico Lewis fellow, Rico Lewis, the guy with
Mm.
the hair, he's only about 19 or 20, and he
Yeah.
settled in like he was a long-term player in the team,
Mm.
you know?
So
They've just got such a strong squad. They can replace people that we really can't.
Yeah.
But we don't have to replace. If Romero gets injured tomorrow, who have we got to come in? Eric Dyer.
No, we've got
You know,
Ashley Phillips, and we've got
Yeah,
other-
but they're there for the future, you know. We don't really have the experienced replacements to come in.
I think Eric Dyer has been banned from the training ground. I think he's a car park attendant at the moment,
Well, he
seeing
was
where
on
the
the
cars
pitch on
park.
Saturday after the match, so he's still in the squad.
Oh, he's the water boy. They let him bring on the water things at halftime as the strawberries. Mia and Philip, right? Say Man City don't win the league, and of course we don't. Look, Tottenham probably not going to win the league, qualify Champions League. Who can you see realistically beating Man City to the title?
Arsenal. And I hate to say that. Liverpool, possibly.
I
Yeah.
think Liverpool have more of a chance. I don't think Arsenal have the. How can I put? I don't think Arsenal have the. I don't think Arteta has the mindset to get a Arsenal over the line.
They'd
Do you
have
know
learned
what
from last season, Dermot. They'd have learned from last season.
Do you know
Yeah,
what?
I just don't think.
I've got to agree with Dermot on this one, because when you look, their squad is slightly stronger than ours, but I don't. This isn't dissimilar to me to Poch, who didn't have the know-how, who didn't have the experience of getting players over that line, and gets too maybe analysing stuff and trying to mix things up a bit too much, and that I just don't think he's got the know-how or the experience. And this is why I said Liverpool, because Klopp has got that. They have won lots of trophies now, so under Klopp. So I think Arteta is aiming too big to try and get a Premier League now. I think he needs to sort of maybe taper his expectations, because of last year where everyone was so bad. They think they're going to be able to push to that next level. I just don't think they can. I just don't think that they've got the mindset.
And Philip, look, if you look Arsenal yesterday with Reina and their goalkeeper, he can't even pick who his number one goalkeeper
He's a
is.
clown. Thank God we didn't buy him.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is, if you look at a Klopp or a Pep or even an Ange, they know who their players are. That's their players to stick with them. They've worked it out pre-game. You look at Ange in Luton. He knew he had to shore it up. He knew he had to change it around, and he did it. There was no decisiveness. He was straight on. This is what I'm going to do. I'm sticking by it. Live or die by the decision. Arteta can't even pick his number one goalkeeper. So if you think Arsenal can win the league, are you going back to the way Fergie did it with United back in 92, 93, where he used the season before when Leeds beat them to the old first division to use that as an example? Do you think, is that why you're saying?
Yeah, that's why I think they will have learned from the mistakes last season. I get no pleasure in saying that. I'd rather be saying that Luton are going to win the league rather than Arsenal. But you know, I do think that they did buy Declan Rice, for whatever we give out about him, 100 million. He's not worth that sort of money, but he is a very good player to have in your team, right? And that Odegaard is a good player as well. They've got good players. And let's put it this: they may not win the league. I still think City will win it, but they'll not be far off it.
I will say, sorry,
Mia, go on. I'll let you have it.
Joe, I will say is that he's tinkering a bit much, because see, he bought Rice. Now what's he going to do with Partey? So he's trying to play Partey out of position. And when he was fit, Partey, that just didn't work. It didn't work. He's tinkering around too much with his team, because he's got to keep Declan Rice happy, because you can't drop a player that you paid that much money for. That's your problem.
I hope he does. I sincerely hope that Arsenal implode and finish mid-table, but I just don't think they will, you know.
So if you think that, then look, you look at Klopp, you look at Poch gone to Chelsea. It's all going to Chelsea are sort of on the revival
behind them now, so they might be a better team now by the time they come to us.
Do you think? Do you look at Chelsea and Liverpool and Arsenal and Manchester City, even Man United, and you look at us, and you think we've got the best, well-balanced squad out of the Premier League, out of the top six?
Well,
Do you
we've got
know,
the best
for
balanced
togetherness?
first 11 at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we've got the best balanced
No,
squad.
that's what I meant. The best balanced first 11, more
At the
togetherness
moment, it
on the
looks that
pitch.
way. It does look that
Yeah.
way. I mean, look at Man United on Sunday, on Saturday, was it Saturday or Sunday? But
Saturday.
Brentford absolutely battered them and still lost. United got lucky in the end. But United are a work in progress. That'll take Den Hag another couple of seasons to get that right, if he gets the nod to stay on there. Liverpool probably are the best of the challengers, if you think about it. They've got a good attack. They've got a good midfield there. Their defense is a little bit wonky. And plus the fact now that as they own VAR, they will never get a VAR decision given against them for the rest of the season.
Well, as we're talking about Liverpool, let's go over the weekend's results and the slight Premier League review, guys. These are the games on Saturday. Of course, Tottenham-Luton was a lunchtime kickoff. Hawaii, we won 1-0 away from home. Mia was doing cartwheels at the top of the league. Philip was running around Leitrim naked. And I was just sitting eating strawberries. So everyone was happy in Spurs land. Burnley, of course, lost 4-1 to Chelsea. Everyone's beating Burnley at the moment. Quick question on Burnley, Mia. Does their manager have to change their philosophy, how they play in the Premier League? Because they seem to be trying to play how they played in the Championship, and it is not working. So does he have to change something within that team? Or will Burnley sack the manager and bring somebody else to keep them in the league?
Ooh, I think they'd be a bit silly to sack Company because I think the job that he's done has been so good. But I do think he needs to adjust. But that's again shows his lack of experience, right? He's an inexperienced manager. So he's doing things the way he thinks he should, and he's learning the hard way. But next game, he needs to think about these things and obviously set up slightly different, because he can't keep taking a battering every single week. It's just, they can't keep doing that. But I think that he's not. I think he seems like he's quite stubborn to want to change it. But yeah, it's a risky business. It's risky thing to do.
It is.
Yeah, the funny thing about that game was Burnley were much the better team in the first half.
They were.
And they ended up, but they've let in 9 goals at home now to Spurs and Chelsea. So he's got to do something. He's got to change his philosophy. You can't play. You get away with that type of football in the Championship, but you will not get away with it in the Premiership because the players are much better.
Philip, look very quickly. You look at Chelsea, right, and you say they're on a revive, 2 wins now in 2. Is it more of the opponents they were playing than Chelsea? I mean, Chelsea, for their faults, if they took the chances, would have won most of the games they lost. It was only about taking chances. What do you think has gone wrong at Chelsea, where for the last couple of seasons it just has not been clicking? Do you think it's down to Abramovich leaving? Do you think it's Tom Bowley buying every player he can think of? Or what do you think's been missing there? Have Chelsea lost their soul? Do you know what I mean?
Chelsea never had a soul, Dermot. Chelsea never had a soul.
That is very true. That is very, very true.
No, I think it's too many players. Doesn't know what his best team is.
Yeah.
Far too many players on the squad. Don't know how they cope with each other. I really don't. But they are improving though. Poch is getting his message across. And I'm a bit worried about that, because when he comes to us in 2 or 3 weeks' time, that could be an interesting match. Very interesting match.
Yeah. Mia, about Chelsea? Any word on Chelsea?
Yeah, Joe, the other thing I think that's sort of like harbouring them a little bit is that with Todd Bowley, he wants to interfere. Like, he wants to go into the dressing room and have his say. And I feel that actually that's going to not. I don't think that probably bodes well with the team and with Pochettino. So even if he gets them clicking a little bit, I think that's always going to be a bit of an issue. They've got too many players, and they've got Todd Bowley kind of interfering and also playing little boy at a candy shop and picking every single player that he wants out. And I think eventually this will end up blowing up in his face. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I think so. Then we've got Everton. Yeah, what's that, Philip?
We can but hope.
Yeah, we can but hope. Everton cost 3-0 home win against Bournemouth. Everyone's beaten Bournemouth. Was that a 6-pointer, guys? Do you think, for Everton?
Yeah. Okay, they lost at home to Luton the previous week. Then they won a cup game midweek, I think. So no, but Bournemouth are worrying me. I think they're on the way back to the Championship the way they're playing at the minute.
So.
Yeah.
I think so. Then we've got Fulham, 3-1 win against Sheffield United, and of course United beating Brentford in injury time. Which one of them games do you want to talk about, the Fulham or the United game?
Can I just mention one thing about the Fulham game before we mention the game? I don't know if anybody saw, but Chris Basham got an absolutely appalling injury. If you've
Yes.
seen the video, his leg actually, his ankle, it's at right angle to the rest of his leg. It's a horrible injury. So I wish him well now. He's 35. This could be the end of his career.
Yeah, we
Terrible.
wish him
Yeah.
well.
It's nobody's fault. His foot grounded and just
Oh.
snapped, basically.
Oh, that's horrible.
It is.
Horrible.
Mia, who do you want to talk about, Fulham or United?
We could talk about lucky United. I thought
Yeah.
they were a little bit lucky on that one. I think that
Okay.
Brentford actually played pretty well. I'm going to be honest. So I do think that they're having these little bit of luck at the minute, Man U. But I don't think that's going to last either. I think they can't keep playing on luck. And they had Scott McTominay saved them.
Yeah.
That's just, it's mad that he saved them. And after everyone always slagged him off in the Man U fan base. So I don't think it's sustainable what's going on at the moment with Ten Hag. I think that they need to get their act together, or because they're so up and down, they could then end up leading themselves out of Europe this year.
No, I agree with you. And look, quickly on Fulham, because it's our next home game against them. Revenge for the League Cup, do you think, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No mercy. No mercy.
And then, of course, Palace drew 0-0 with Forest. I mean, that was so boring, I turned it off after 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That was awful. Then yesterday, guys, it was a draw day, apart from the Arsenal Man City game, which we talked about. Brighton drew 2-2 with Liverpool. West Ham drew 2-2 with Newcastle. And Wolves drew 1-0 with Villa. Any games, Mia, there? Do you want to talk about any games?
The Brighton-Liverpool game was a really good game. I thought that Brighton did really well because I thought once they got the lead, Liverpool, I thought that they could just end up whacking them absolutely. But they actually played really well. Their first goal scorer, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's just electric. He's such a good player. So I think they played really well, Brighton, and they deserved that draw. If not, I feel that maybe Liverpool probably deserved the loss as well, because there was a handball that was questionable that I was a bit like, oh, Liverpool got the penalty and
very soft penalty as well. Very soft penalty.
Very soft penalty. Oh, that wasn't the handball one, was it?
Toma missed the sky one over the bar from 5 yards out near the end,
Yeah, that's right. So they could have won it, Brian. I think they were a little bit unlucky not to win it. But overall, I thought they played really well. They were looking really, really good. And I enjoyed that match, actually. It was a good match to watch, to be honest.
Look, I think a lot of results went our way the weekend, didn't it? With Liverpool drawing, Arsenal. I know Arsenal beating Man City, but us still being top of the league. Look, has it been a good weekend for us, results-wise, Philip?
We're top of the league, so top of the league, so it has been, I think I was actually hoping for a draw between Arsenal and Man City.
Yeah.
Because that would mean we'd be the only, we'd be out clear at the top of the table. Now we're only away in goal difference, But no, it was a good weekend. Yeah, it was. I mean, any weekend we win is a good weekend for me.
Now there's the top five, guys. Tottenham down to Villa. Not much between them. I know only 8 games gone, but still to be nice unbeaten after 8 games. Any surprises there, Mia? For the top 5, are you surprised Villa are there? Are you surprised Liverpool are down where they are? Man City where they are? Do you know what it is?
It's too early. It's too early on to be looking at the table and thinking anything like you can decipher anything, because it can all change, as we well know.
Yeah.
Like I say, give me the table in January, and I think you're looking at more likely of a table, even though it can still change. I think, we have to look into it when there's a few more games played.
And then, Philip, there's the bottom 5. Sheffield United, Bournemouth and Burnley are the bottom 3. Luton are out of it on goal difference. Burnley have a worse goal difference than Luton. Everton there, 7 points. I mean, could you see that relegation battle going to the last game of the season?
No, I don't think so. Well, maybe one spot. I think at least 2 of the spots will be filled pretty quickly. I think Sheffield United and unless Bournemouth get their act together, they're going to be really under pressure. I think it could be a battle between Burnley, Luton, and probably Burnley and Luton. I think Everton will be okay this season, just about. Brentford will probably be okay. I'd love to see Luton stay up. I really would, but they're going to have a struggle on their hands.
Yeah.
They need someone.
They're,
Yeah, they don't really
yeah,
have any.
I agree with you. For now, these are the games, of course, when we return with the Premier League. Of course, it's the Merseyside derby. Have 12. Any games there you're looking forward to, Mia? You think, do you know what? That might be a good game. Any games there? Saturday games?
I would probably say the two that stand out for me is the Manchester City and Brighton. That will be a good game because of the way that Brighton play. And the Chelsea Arsenal game is going to be very interesting to see, as Chelsea have picked up those wins, to see if they can carry on their good form or not.
And then for you, Philip, anything Sheffield United, Newcastle?
Yeah, well,
Palace?
obviously the Merseyside derby is going to be what City and Brighton will be interesting. That's no gimme for City, I'll tell you. Chelsea and Arsenal, obviously, we wanting nobody to win that game. They might actually be abandoned through lack of interest at half time. Sheffield United and Man United. I'll tell you one thing: if Sheffield United beat United in that one, and you know something, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they did.
I tell you, we'll be doing the rugby watch along at that point, Philip, with the Ireland New Zealand game. So we will be keeping
it's
them.
Next Saturday, Dermot. It's not. No, it's next
Oh
Saturday.
no, next Saturday. Yeah. Sorry. And then, of course, Forest against Luton. Might do a watch along for that. That game, Philip. The Sheffield United, Man United. We'll get Colin on. Might do a watch along for that.
Late night, 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Might do. Might give him a bit of. Give him a bit of.
That's one thing I don't like. That other points in the bag before we play on Monday night.
Yeah. Then, of course, on Sunday, there's only one game: Villa against West Ham. Mia, Villa win. West Ham win. What do you reckon?
Villa, they're at home and they've been playing really well at home. So a Villa win for me.
Yeah. And Dino the dinosaur has been seen lost somewhere in Birmingham. Him and a few other, and Chirpy as well. They went into a dodgy nightclub, have not been seen since. So if anyone's up in Birmingham and you've seen Chirpy Chippy the Tottenham mascot and Dino the dinosaur from West Ham, please send them back to their respective clubs.
Do you mean to say the Tottenham mascot's associating with that?
Yeah. Why?
He got led astray, apparently.
No, all the dinosaur ones have to stick together. We don't associate with them. Let the West Ham one and the scumbag one, they can stick together because they're both dinosaurs.
Well, apparently they were caught coming out of a dodgy Soho nightclub a couple of weekends ago, and apparently they're going to court over something. I don't know what they did. Chirpy got banned from his missus. Mrs. Chirpy told him to stay at home. He wasn't allowed out to play. So there you go. So big up Mrs. Chirpy, the Tottenham mascot. And of course, we're at home Monday against Fulham. I suppose everyone have agreed here. Spurs win 4-0.
Well, we win.
I'm not going to give my score. I'm not giving my score prediction yet until I do my preview for it.
See who comes back uninjured.
I think it's going to be a tight game, but I think it's a winnable game, isn't it?
Well, do you know something? In the way, the Monday night is a good way to have it because the players coming back from international, some of them might only be back on Thursday. So if we're playing on Saturday, it would leave very little time to prepare. At least this gives us 48 hours more to, get the weariness to travel out of the legs and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so true for that. And then, of course, we're going to now the 23-24 player stats. Of course, Haaland a leader with 8 goals. The assists now, James Maddison and this Wolves player are on the same. And I didn't put Maddison ahead, which I should have done, but I was trying to be fair. We've got passes there for Brighton, 756. And of course, the Palace keeper is ahead with clean sheets with 4, which really shocked me.
Yeah.
Then, of course, the club stats, goals, and Brighton have scored the most goals than anybody in the Premier League with 21. Everton are ahead with tackles on 162 tackles they've won. Tottenham, of course, are 6 games unbeaten with 6 wins. They're top of that league. Arsenal were top, but I was not going to put an Arsenal badge up there. It had to be Tottenham because they were joint on top. And Sheffield United, 7 defeats with the most loss in the Premier League. And then this is the form guide. Of course, we're win-win, draw, win-win, same as the lot down the road. It is the wrong way around. I do know. I've realised afterwards I put it the wrong way around. So if you spot the difference, fair play to you, spot the ball. Man City, of course, 3 wins, 2 defeats at home to Brighton, and then, of course, Liverpool, 3 wins, a loss, and a draw at home to Everton. So looking good for next week. Now, guys, look, with the European Championships, Mia and Philip, coming to UK and Ireland in 2028. It's supposed to be announced tomorrow. What does this mean for the home nation soccer and Irish soccer? Now, me and Philip earlier had a big debate on about putting infrastructure into Irish soccer, where in this country it'll always be GAA and rugby. Now, Philip, you're looking at Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and England and Ireland. Who do you think is going to get the most? Who's going to get the most out of this, out of the home nations and Ireland?
Well, I don't know the way. I don't know what the games are split. Obviously, the bulk of the games that we played in England, because that's where the stadiums are. We're getting 6 matches apparently in the Aviva, which is fair enough. And I'm presuming Scotland and Wales will get something similar. Now, Northern Ireland is a tricky one because the ground they're going to play in hasn't even been built yet. It's a wasteland at the moment. So that's tricky where that's going to go. But it will be good. It'll bring an awareness to people, especially okay, the Scots don't really need it. Wales is probably a bit of a backwater when it comes to. They've got Swansea, Newport, and Cardiff. Really, 3 clubs, and I presume they'll play the games at the Cardiff Stadium. So that'll be good for Wales. It'd be good for Scotland too because whether they use Hampden Park or Celtic Park, I don't know.
They're only using Hampden Park.
Are they? Okay,
they're only using one.
Yeah, and we're getting then Casement Park in Belfast, which is. That's a strange one. It really is. It's a GAA ground that hasn't even been built yet, and yet they're giving it a soccer tournament. So I think there's going to be a bit. We'll hear a bit more about that because the politicians in the north are fighting over this at the moment. The DUP who object to everything.
Look, we said it earlier, Philip. Look, we know English soccer here it really doesn't need no investment. Football.
No, the reason we say soccer is GAA is known as football over here. You see, so we have to kind of
differentiate.
We know that game with the round ball you play in England between the 2 posts, right?
Football.
No, is that what it's called? Right. Okay, I thought it was called the round ball game. That doesn't really need much investment in. It's but you look at Northern Ireland, you look at Ireland, Scotland sort of is there. Wales probably could do with a bit more investment in because their league isn't great. Now, I was saying to Philip earlier, Philip, we're only talking about this very briefly before you start getting bored with the conversation, right? Now, you look over here. Rugby and GAA is the number 2 sports in Ireland, and soccer/football comes 3rd.
So I was falling asleep.
Of course you were. Anything not to do with England, nobody cares. Well, I do care. I'm very passionate about this. What can Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales get out of this tournament more than England can?
Just, I suppose, recognition of their country and what they have to offer when it comes to football, I guess, because they don't get recognised. Like Philip said, Scotland's maybe a little bit different because Celtic are regularly in the Champions League. So I think, and Rangers, they're up there in those big tournaments where the Welsh, they don't really have that. No. Same as Ireland. So I think that those countries are it'd be good for their money as well because they're obviously people going to come and watch. So then that's good for them to get local businesses obviously to profit from it. And like I say, it's just that general recognition of Wales and Ireland because like I say, England for me and Scotland, it's not really so much for them.
No, I think the biggest advantage for us and probably Scotland and Wales is the tourist revenue.
I was just going to say
that comes in.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's huge because you can bet your bottom dollar the hotel prices will quadruple for the nights there's matches on in Dublin. The pub prices will go up as well, so people will make money. Now, what I want to see though is the ticket money or whatever way that's allocated being put back into the grassroots. That's the crux of it.
Well,
if the money all goes back to UEFA headquarters in Switzerland or whatever, what's the point?
Look, I said this to you earlier. I'm going to go with this very quickly. It's not going to be put back in the grassroots. You know that. It's like Irish soccer. It's like what's his name? It's like going up asking for a bowl. Can I have some more, sir? We're that poor over there when it comes to soccer in this country. The infrastructure is non-existent. Our league is okay. Our league sides get into
It's
Europe, and
improving though. It's improving. you
yeah,
have to
it's
say.
improving. But Philip, our league sides get into Europe and do well in Europe. To be fair, do well in Europe as well. Some of them do well, but our infrastructure. You look at Wales, you look at Scotland, you look at Northern Ireland, you look at England and Scotland. Right, their infrastructure for their youngsters is second to none.
Yeah.
Our infrastructure over here for our youngsters, and you made the point earlier, because the Irish rugby team are doing so well, everyone's now want to go away play rugby.
Yeah.
But if you said like your grandson plays soccer in Dublin, right?
Mhm.
But we haven't got anything like that down here in Wexford. Or if you go down to Waterford or
Yeah, but you
Tipperary,
don't live in Dublin. You don't live in Dublin. Dublin gets everything in this country. Dublin and
yeah,
Cork.
we know that. So and then so what has to happen, Philip? It's not when going to your TD. That's not going to work. You know that full well, all right? So do we have to? Does it have to be done as a petition, or is it because the governing body was so badly run by John Delaney, we're so broke that we have to scrap everything and start again? Start from the start again. Start from fresh and build it up.
Well, we're not going to get any money from the government, so yeah, probably that's the only way to do it. And it's not going to work either. It's going to take far too long. The other two sports are going to keep growing, but the ironic thing is, right? If you go to Dublin Airport any Saturday morning, every flight coming to England on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning is full of soccer fans.
Yeah,
going over to England to see their team,
Mm.
and yet they wouldn't go down the road to watch a League of Ireland team. And that's sad in a way when you think about it. That's why the competition is so great with the Liverpools, the Spurs, the Man Uniteds against Longford Town or Galway United. Well, if I had a choice to go to see Tottenham or Longford Town, where am I going to go? I'm going to go to Tottenham. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, we don't even have a proper team here in Wexford. No jokes here, guys. But no,
Wexford youth, don't you?
Yeah, but the point is, Philip, it's like me. Look, if your young lads wanted to go and play soccer or football in England, right, you would have the facilities there to take them to do their under 6, under 7s, under 8s, whatever. For all the Premier League clubs have their youth systems and they all start early and bring them in. Probably the same in Scotland, probably with the big teams in Wales. I don't know much about Northern Ireland, but Ireland there isn't. You look at cricket as a big sport in England. You look at tennis as a big sport in England, right? How can in England and in Europe other sports can all compete with one another quite fine, but soccer can't grow in other countries like Wales or Northern Ireland, Ireland, or other countries in the world? Do you know what I mean? Why does soccer always find it hard? Where it is the most easiest, cheapest game for a youngster to go and buy football, go on in the pitch and play. All you have to do is buy football. So why is everyone making it so hard for the youngsters just to kick a ball around?
I think because
not in England.
No, I never said England, Philip.
Sorry, but I think for Ireland, what it is that it's a generational thing, right? So because what happens with a lot of youngsters over here is it gets passed down to them and it's encouraged. But if your main sport isn't football, then obviously that means that their parents aren't going to say to them, "Oh, come and play football." And the problem is you haven't got the stuff like the infrastructures to do it anyway. But even we've got a lot of teams like school teams. So a lot of the schools have a football team, and then you've got all the other little local teams that you can go and play under 11s or whatever it is they've got. So there's so many more little teams that they can go and play at as well. And also because we encourage them to do so. If they like football, you've got plenty of options for them to go and do it. But it's also about that encouragement. And if you're not encouraging it, there's no point of having those teams because there's not enough kids to do it. No. That's the problem.
Look, Philip, it's a conversation for another stream and another show. And I think it's a conversation worth happening because it is something I'm very passionate about. And I'm very angry the way that our governing body has been left to ruin in a way. And it's the next generation that are going to suffer. I mean, you look at our international side, we should be qualifying for these tournaments where the likes of Norway and other teams have qualified ahead of us for major tournaments with the same population we have. But look, if you could wave a magic wand, Philip, and fix one thing say in UEFA that would help Irish soccer, what would it be?
A grant of about 20 million quid to help improve the infrastructure to be spent purely on rural soccer, Tottenham football schools, whatever you want to call them. The centre of excellence is in every county, and bring on the players and hope that their fathers don't get them first and get them playing GEA, because that's what happens. Up to 30 years ago, you weren't allowed to play soccer. If you played GEA, you could not play the two sports. There was a ban. Remember the ban?
Yeah, I do.
Still there. Couldn't play rugby or soccer if you were a GEA player.
That's what I'm saying. See, that's what happens, and that's your problem, isn't it? That's the root of the problem.
It's gone now, but
it's gone.
I mean, it was a major back in 2007 when the GEA actually allowed rugby games to be played at Croke Park. I mean,
but the problem is
in their grave for years after that.
But the problem you've got is that gap of when it was banned. That's the problem, because you've got a whole load of people, a whole load of players who didn't get to play. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's that gap.
Yeah.
And look,
I have people living in my village here. They wouldn't even know who Liverpool were. All they care about who won the county championship in GEA. You know that they don't. There's no interest in soccer. Most of them. There's a few that have, but most of them don't.
And although the success we've had on Jack Charlton and Mick McCarthy and Martin O'Neill qualifying for major tournaments, it's never had that trickling down through the. Do you know what I mean? Where like England get to a European. I know England's a bigger league than us and bigger clubs and whatever, but you look at the infrastructure they've put in for the youngsters coming through, and it's okay. Politicians, especially in this country, saying, "Oh, it's great. We've got the European Championships. We're going to be a co-host." What was it? Coleman said the island captain. It's like it's having a third coat with no knickers. Us hosting the European Championships because we haven't got the team to compete.
We have one good stadium, and that's it. You know.
As
you said, I think it's one for another debate.
It is, maybe. Philip. I know, but
for an Irish audience, because I don't think with all due respect to that, like we wouldn't really give two tosses if England are having problems like we have. We wouldn't want to hear about it, and I'm sure they don't feel the same about us.
Well, look, as a football fan, as a football person who loves the game, who likes seeing these youngsters. Look, when we see a youngster come through at Tottenham and he makes his debut, we're all over the moon with it. We don't care if he's Irish, English, Scottish, Welsh, American, African, wherever. We're all wondered, like when Velez came on Saturday. You and me, Philip, are excited to see him make his Spurs debut.
That's true.
You know? So it's important that the youngsters have a chance to make their own decisions. And look, I'm very passionate about my country. I'm very passionate about the sport. I'm very passionate about our national team. I want us qualifying for major tournaments so I can go along with Mia and say, Mia, Ireland are playing England together in the European Championships and have a banter with it. Do you know, like we did back in like the good old days. And I'm 46, Philip, and I want to see us qualify for major tournaments again. I want to see the new Robbie Keane. I want to see the new Roy Keane. I want to see the new Paul McGrath. I want to see the new Packy Bonner. I want to see the new Shay Given. I want to be.
I think you'll have your bus pass before that comes to fruition.
I know, but the problem is, I am so angry of the way that UEFA and FIFA have allowed this to happen. Now, there's another debate, and I think they have to take responsibility as well. UEFA and FIFA.
We'll debate about it again. We'll debate about it again.
Now, the last bit we're getting on is this was sent to me this morning by Colin, who works, of course, on Full-Time Sports Network. And please, everyone go over there, our partner channel. And, of course, everyone go over to Spurs Between the Lines as well. Give your head a wobble when you're hitting the subscription button on Mia's channel as well. It does work. I've done it, Mia. You can do it. You rarely have to wobble your head hard, but you can hit the subscription button. And, of course, hit it here on ours. And please get memberships for me on ours and Mia's channel as well. It does help us grow as we look to grow to give you the best content out there, the best Tottenham content, the best football content around. Of course, us two channels really growing, really baby channels, really. We're the baby channel. Mia's like a tadpole, like a little, what do you call them baby frogs, Mia?
Tadpoles.
Tadpoles. Mia's like a tadpole channel, and we're like a little baby frog channel. So we're just ready to hop on to the next stuff. Was this, guys, Now, Philip, I'm going to let you read the first bit. I'm going to get Mia to read the last bit, and I'm just going to sit back in pure amazement at this stat. Go on,
Right.
Philip.
Following the purchase of Man United and the leverage buyout, that means they didn't use their own money; they used borrowed money. The Glazer family reportedly only put in 150 million of their own money in 17 years. That's less than 10 million a year, according to Sky Sports. All while taking a dividend every season, they now stand to make at least 4 to 5 billion. Now over to you, Mia, for the rest
Go
of
on,
it.
Mia. The second bit really gets me.
Since they bought the club in a highly controversial leverage buyout in 2005, the Glazers have taken more than 1.1 billion out of United.
Now,
Unbelievable, Jeff.
it is unbelievable, Cammy. It really is. Philip, look, I'm going to ask the question, right? You know, look, are the Glazers the type of owners every club should avoid? Is that sort of stating the obvious here?
Yeah, obviously they're I mean, they bought the club using the club's own money, basically borrow the money to buy it, and now they've enriched themselves to the tune of 15 million a year or whatever it is they're taking out of the club.
Yeah,
an absolute disgrace. I can see why the United fans are up in arms about it, you know. And
Yeah.
but the thing is, this sale or so-called sale of Man United looks to be no further on now than it was a year ago. So what is there? Every month they keep that club, it's another couple of million into their bank pocket.
yeah.
Back
Now,
pocket.
Well,
we were told, just very quickly, Mia, look, I want to ask you this question. We were told, weren't we, Philip, by a reliable source that United cannot get any more credit. They cannot borrow any more money.
Within, was it 2 million a week?
2 million a week. And was it in the next 3 years, Philip?
I don't know what the time scale was, but the thing was, until the takeover is complete, the line of credit is closed off.
Within the next 3 years, they could end up in administration.
Oh, yeah, that's right as well. Yeah.
Now, this is Manchester United, Mia, the biggest club in the world. Now, look, I know we're all Spurs fans on here. We love Tottenham. But if you're a football fan, you always look at like Man United with the Busby Babes, the Munich air crash. You look at the Fergie years. You and me were talking about the class of 92, Mia, today, and said how we grew up with the class of 92, you and me in our teenage years, and how much we all respect them, apart from one individual who shall remain nameless. And look, you look at Colin, right? And you look how devastated he looks. Aren't we so lucky to have the club that we've got? And you look up at Manchester, I see the biggest club in the world basically nearly going to the wall.
Do you know what? I do feel really sorry for the Man United fans to start with. I've got friends that are Man U supporters, and the way the Glazers have behaved is despicable. It's absolutely despicable. And of course, they're going to be angry with the fact that they borrowed money and taken money out, but actually haven't really improved the club by, fixing their stadium. And even the players they've bought, they've overpaid and got themselves in such a mess with their wages as well, paying massive wages to players. And they're just in such a state right now. Like, it's mad. And they took out all of that money. Like, I can see why they are so incredibly angry. When it comes to our owners, it's a tricky one, right? Because business-wise, you can't fault them. There's nothing in our books that's dodgy. I reckon that everything, if you went through our books, if anybody ever bought us, they wouldn't have any problem with our books. But when it comes to the footballing side, obviously that's where we have been lacking, and Man United have won stuff. So it's a bit of a difficult one, because I feel like it's hard because, the business side of it, Tottenham do incredibly well with what we do, but the footballing side, not so much. So I think that, are we lucky? I wouldn't say lucky. I would say that some parts of it, we are a bit luckier in some aspects within the money part, that we're not going to go into any sort of administration. There's no way that Levy would ever allow that to happen.
No.
I think we could all become a bit concerned if Man United got Qatari owners. I think they would really become another next Manchester City.
But do you think, Philip, look, you saying that, yeah, you agree with you, but the Glazers want to remain in control. So they're going to want to have some sort of control in Man United.
That's not going to work, you know.
No,
If
I know
the
it's not.
Qataris buy in, there's not a hope they're going to let the Glazers stay anywhere
So
near
do you
that
think
place.
this is why the sale has been kept from
Probably.
going on and on because of the...
Because they want them out and Glazers want to stay. Now, Jim Ratcliffe's plan was, I think, to give the Glazers 20%.
I think that's still the one to go with.
Yeah, that's probably that because they have some control of the club.
Yeah.
Now, if I was Ratcliffe, I'd run a mile from that. I wouldn't let them near the place.
Now, look, I want to ask you guys a serious question on this, and I really want an honest answer now. Look, you look at Man United. Look, we all feel sorry for United fans. As football fans, we do, and I agree with Mia 100% by that kind. I know you do too, Philip. And look, we're not just Tottenham fans. We love football as a game, and any club we love. Liverpool have a rich history. So do we. So do Man United. If you look at the owners now, Philip, from 1992 to 3, the first year of the Premier League, to now, has foreign ownership I can't think of the word, but has foreign ownership been worse for British football than it was in 92, 93?
You can't compare it, though, because back in 92, the Premiership was just starting. No one knew what way it was going to go. Most of the clubs were in British hands at that stage. They're now not in British hands, which means that an awful lot of profits are leaving the country. They're going back to the country of origin. So that is not a good thing, you know. Whereas when British owners owned it, the money was staying in the area, in the country. But it's been bad because it's brought in mega owners like Manchester City's owners, like Chelsea. Like, you know, since most Chelsea fans think Chelsea only founded in 2003 when Abramovich took over, you know. And he literally bought the titles for all those years. City have done the same. So from that point of view, it's not been a level playing pitch for most teams. Most teams cannot compete with that type of spending power. And that's going to be the way. I wouldn't mind if someone like the Kuwaitis or whatever took over Tottenham. I'd have some reservations, but I would just I think but so many years of watching other clubs been successful, I'm getting a bit jealous. Why can't we have a bit of that?
Yeah.
You know.
Look, just last question for you, Mia, and then we'll end off the podcast. Then we'll get you to plug your channels, and me and Philip will tell you what's coming up next on THFC Till I Die, and also on Full Time Sports Network and THFC F1 Till We Die as well. Look, Mia, we love our team, we love our club, and we've seen the likes of United, Liverpool now under US ownership. Do you think that US ownership have a different way of thinking when you look at the Qataris or the Middle Eastern owners? They sort of have a little bit of knowledge of this is how a team should be run. This is what we want. We want to win the league. We want to win the Champions League. Do you think the US owners have sort of a different way of looking at it, thinking we make it more into a franchise than making it a successful football club?
It's difficult, right? Because Arsenal have got American owners, so have Liverpool. Liverpool have won stuff with FSG, and although Liverpool supporters don't particularly like FSG, but they have won stuff under them. So it's tricky because I think it just depends on the individual. Now we've got Todd Boehly. Todd Boehly is just wild the way he behaves. So I think it honestly just depends on if they're coming in. I think it's their intentions when they buy the club. It's not about where they're from, from what country. For me, it's more about their intentions. And it seems like the American owners are less coming in for they're not coming in for that reason. They seem to be less likely to. They're more likely to come in and think, oh, this is profitable. What can we get from this? You know?
The more coming in for the money than the success.
Because it doesn't. Yeah. But then, like I say, FSG have had success, and since the owners have taken over, I think that there was like part ownership with Arsenal and someone else. I can't think it was, and they've taken over. It's been better, I think, with the spending that they they seem to want to spend a bit more. But yeah, I do think, like I say, it's just the attitude in general of the person taking over.
I do. Look, Philip, we could be in Mia, we could be looking probably in the next 20 years it reverting itself again. And football, look, I always claim that football's bubble will burst one day. It's like an economy. It's like you look at the construction part of the economy. If that goes bang or goes bang, there's a ripple effect. Do you know what I'm getting at? It goes along, and then other parts of the economy then start going bang, and then maybe it's happening in football.
Take the TV money out, and that'll happen pretty quickly.
Yeah, it really will. Well, listen, thank you for joining us. That was the Cockerel Clock podcast with myself, Mia, and of course the Godfather himself, Mr. Philip Brady. Mia, do you want to give your channel a massive, massive plug to Spurs Between the Lines? And when are you on next?
You can get over at Spurs Between the Lines. I've started doing a Wednesday at 10 a.m. show. I'm just going to start doing that from tomorrow. But tomorrow is actually a members call-in. So if you are a member, you can call in. I'm going to start doing those again once a month, which is nice. So if you become a member, you can do that. And yeah, just do general catch-up. And then every day I post a video with the latest news and transfer updates as well. So I try and keep everybody updated with the latest Tottenham news.
And of course, us, Philip, we're back probably Wednesday. I might do something tomorrow yet, Philip. I don't know. I may do something tomorrow. We're back on. You're back Thursday. You're taking a few days off. Look, we've got a few international stuff coming up, building up to the Ireland games, the England game, Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. We may have that debate this week, Philip, about the Ireland infrastructure and the European Championships. How will that impact our country in football over here? Of bits of Spurs stuff, and also we're going to start a new show, Sporting Heroes, where I will be interviewing Philip about his sporting hero, Jimmy Greaves. I'm doing Mia's as well on David Beckham. Look at the smile on her face when I say David Beckham. Look at that. Look at the grin on her face.
I watched the documentary, and it's actually really interesting and really good. And I've got a lot of admiration, not just because of him, the way he looked, and obviously when he did the skinhead and the collar up bit, he looked so nice. That was the best Becks. But I've got a lot of admiration for all the trouble that he went through with the red card and stuff. You know, I think that he come through that really well, considering.
Yeah. And also, I'll be doing it on Ayrton Senna, who's my sporting hero, all-time sporting hero. Philip, any words before we finished? Got a few shows this week. We are doing the match day blog Friday, aren't we, for the Ireland game?
I hope we can get coverage from the ground. Yeah. And should just add that the Spurs unbeaten record continues tonight. The under-21s beat Bristol City 2-1 in the Premier League 2 League Cup. So another victory. Yeah. And it was actually quite ironic. They scored the winner in the 96th minute with a penalty.
Now, I am going to put it out there. Where we're going on Friday, apparently it's the first time I've gone this season now, and the seats at the back at the top of like climbing the Mount Everest. So I'm going to video it. Now, if I die live when I'm videoing it, Philip's going to quickly go onto YouTube and put Dermot's gone. So Carl, Mia, you are taking my spot as co-host on this channel. So please look after the channel when I'm gone.
I'm going to bring a rope with me and pull you up.
Is that what you're going to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you see me and Philip doing the blog and you see me look half dead and probably Philip and Dave Harris chucking coke down my neck, you know what's happened. But on that bombshell, we shall leave it there. Listen, we may be back tomorrow. I'm definitely back Wednesday, hopefully with Mia. She'll come on and join me for Newsbeat at 4 and get off straight away for Mia's show at 5, so we can quickly get off. Because if I don't, Mia will hunt me down and send Romero after me.
Although I'm not actually doing it at 5, if you listen back, she said 10 a.m. I'm doing my Wednesday show.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was listening. I'm just thought you would. Yeah. I'm a member as well, so I can come on tomorrow.
Wednesday.
On Wednesday, yeah. I thought you said the member show was tomorrow.
Quit while you're ahead, though.
I think I'm
It
going
was.
to quit while
It's
I'm going to quit.
Wednesday.
I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. I don't even know
Yeah,
what
good
it is.
idea.
It is Monday today, isn't it? It is Monday, isn't it? Yeah.
I did say Wednesday, didn't I? I
Yeah.
said I'm
Derb
going
was
live
looking
on
at me
Wednesday.
thinking I need to take him down to the local loony bin. So if I'm not back by Thursday, you know where I am. Listen, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. This will be going up on Spotify once I can remember the password and the login details.
3
We've got
weeks
2
on
to put up.
Thursday.
Yeah, that'll be about 10 weeks on Thursday, as Philip says. Look, to finish off, I'm gonna to finish off, we're gonna do Fred. No, we're not. We're gonna This Is Mia and Philip celebrating when Romero comes out of his dungeon for game day. There you go. That's all the Spurs fans celebrating when Mia lets Romero out of a dungeon on Friday morning. They're all outside our house, right? There's 10,000 of them. Oh, Lord. Have you let him go home to Argentina for a few days? Have you worked that one out?
Yeah, I have. I allowed him. I did allow him.
Or did you send a double home? He's actually in the dungeon, but he sent his double.
No, he has been allowed to go. I'm not that mean.
All right. Philip's looking like, I don't think so. On that bombshell, we'll see you soon. Take care. Come on, you Spurs in Big Andrew Trust.
Spurs.